Welcome to CapitalTrails. In this video, we are going to do a tutorial on how to navigate using GPX files. Number one, download an app that you can load a GPX file on. The popular ones are Gaia, OpenStreetMap, Footpath, and even Strava and your wearable brand. So that could be Garmin, Sunto, Coros, or any other. However, when you are out in the forest, you need something that's lightweight and drains less phone battery than the others. So at CapitalTrails, we always recommend Gaia GPS, which is spelled Gaia, or OpenStreetMap, which is the words open, street, and map spelled together. Both these apps are available on Android as well as iOS and can be downloaded free of cost. Number two, load the GPX file on the app. On Android, this is quite straightforward. When you try opening the GPX file that you have downloaded, you will see options to open the file using any of the supported apps. You can choose Gaia GPS or OpenStreetMap to complete the action. Note that Android gives you the option to use the app just once or always, so choose according to your preferences. On iOS, it's a bit different. You can open the GPX file, but it will show you the file as an XML file, which will appear as garbled or codified text. This is absolutely normal. So what you need to do is once you're on the screen, which is showing the text, there will typically be a share button at the bottom left. You click that or you tap that. And once you've tapped that, you will be able to see Gaia GPS and or OpenStreetMap in the list of apps that you can use. You may have to navigate a step further as these apps might not really show up as shortcuts or in the frequently used apps. But you'll be able to do that if you're an iOS user. And number three, learn the interface. Just make sure that when the app is open, your location is being tracked because that is what is the most important for you to be on the route. What you see on the screen right now is the default view of Gaia. The first thing to know about what you're seeing on the screen is this little arrow in the middle, right? This is your current location, and you would have seen it in Google Maps. You would have seen it in any other application as well. That your position will always be shown at the center by default, and it will always be pointing in some direction, right? So as you can see over here, also the pointy end is pointed towards the bottom right of the screen, right? So what that signifies is that my phone is actually pointed in that direction. Right. So now if I rotate my phone slightly to the left, you can see that the pointer is also moving. It has moved. Right. Same way, if I move it to the right, you can see that the pointer has also moved. So this is just my phone's orientation, the phone's alignment being changing, due to which the pointer also changes. Right. So this is something which will come in very handy for you because when you're on the route, when you're looking at the GPX file, you want to know whether you want to go right or left, and this is what is going to help you orient on yourself on the route, right? Now, if you look at the controls on the bottom left, you'll see something which is like a deck of layers. We'll just leave that aside for now, right? Then there is a button there is an icon that has the arrow, which is empty right now. So we will use that a lot. I'll come to that. Then there is a button that says 3D. This is not useful in NCR because 3D is typically you will use a 3D feature when you're in the mountains, when you want to know how much elevation there is. Over here, Delhi is practically flat, so you won't really see any elevation changes or there's not much point trying to use this 3D feature, right? And then there is this icon that has these four arrows pointing in four different directions. So which just, clutters and declutters the screen. That's it. So this is to hide all the controls, and then you can just press it back and show all the controls, right? Now coming to the arrow icon, right? This is what you will predominantly use at different stages, right? So what you see right now is your arrow is the arrow icon, which is empty, right? So it's just a line in the shape of the arrow. So let's say you're here somewhere, you've zoomed out, panned out, you're somewhere else, and you've lost orientation or you've lost a sense of where you are with respect to where the map view is. That's where you'll use this button, and that will center the map back onto your current location, right? And now you can see that the icon has become filled also. Right. So this icon filling up with black just indicates that you have pressed the button and you are back on your location, right? Now, if you press this again, you can see that the icon has changed, and you can also see that the orientation has changed, and that there is a compass that has now appeared on the top right, right? Now, this is where you have actually switched the view from a north up view to a heading up view. The difference between the two is that in a north up view, which was the view that you had before this, the map will always be oriented in a north-south fashion, right? North will always be up, south will always be down, uh, west to the left, east to the right, right? That's going to be the static orientation of the map, and it's your pointer that will rotate whenever you move or whenever you move your phone around. In this case, however, when you have switched to the heading up view, here what will happen is that your pointer will always be oriented up, upwards. As you move around, the map view will change, but your pointer will still remain pointing upwards, right? So this is heading up and this is north up, right? So you can see how the app behaves. This is where the map is static, but your pointer is rotating. Whereas in this case, your pointer is static, but the map is rotating, right? One last word about the interface itself. It's going to be pretty much the same whether you are using Gaia or OpenStreetMap or anything else. So I'll just show you what OpenStreetMap looks like. Where are we? Yes. That's pretty much the same. There is your location. Instead of pointing in one direction, this OpenStreetMap has like a something like a radar. So again, that radar is that radar view is pointing in the direction that your phone is in. Oh, it changed to a pointer. Yeah, so that happens. But you can see that the 3D option is still there. The bottom icon on the bottom, which is like a blue crosshair kind of a thing that's there to orient yourself back to your location. The north up view and the driving view are all there at the top left. Zoom in, zoom out works the same way, two finger, etc. So it's pretty much the same interfaces, but just how the controls are laid out, right? So yeah, so that actually makes it different interfaces, but essentially doing the same thing, right? Uh, Number four, how to actually navigate using the GPX file, right? So if you followed steps 1 and 2 properly, well, step 1 was just the app download, but if you have followed the second step of opening the file correctly, you will see something like this. Again, I'm on OpenStreetMap right now. You will see the GPX file loaded something like this, right? This is what you see on the screen the is the is the long route, right? Is the long 23K route for Asola, right? So your pointer when you open the app on Sunday morning, 7th morning when you are there, your current location at that time will be showing something somewhere around this intersection, right? Which will be right at the start point. So all you need to do is move and make sure that your arrow is on this red line as close to it as possible. Right? Yeah. So what will happen is as you start moving, your current location, your arrow will also start moving along with you because you're carrying your phone with you. You'll be on the same, you'll be on the same track. You just have to make sure that you are moving on this red line and nothing else. That's the only thing that you need to do. Keep checking your phone, keep checking your, if you need to have the file loaded. So you keep checking your phone, your current location at any point, whether you're at the start line, whether you're at the 3K mark, whether you're at the 10K mark, wherever you are, should always be on this red line. In some phones, it might show up in a different color, but that's fine. There might be a 2-3 meter deviation here and there because GPX, it's literally like a satellite which is thousands of kilometers above us, and from that distance it is tracking a device which is 6 inches or 4 inches in length, in size, right? So there will always be deviations, but that's where your on ground presence of mind, on ground skills will come in. There is a trail on this entire route, right? So what you need to do is you open your phone, see whether you're on the right track, which you will get to know if your pointer or your cursor is on the green dot, and then you look ahead. You can't be looking at the phone and moving. You look ahead, you will see a trail, you follow the trail. Wherever there is an intersection or a junction, that's where you whip out your phone. That's where you see which side you need to go, and that's how you navigate. It's as simple as that. You don't need to do anything else. There is no tech magic or anything that needs to be taken care of. Simple, just have to load the app, load the file on your application. Have to have your app handy at all times, and just have to make sure that your position is on this trail, on the red trail, on the GPX. And when you look at the ground, you should be able to see a trail, right? Number 5, things to keep in mind. So wherever there are chances of getting lost or going off trail, you will get lost and you will go off trail. And that's where the fun of navigation lies, right? And that's where the whole adventure of this format of racing lies. So if at all, if ever you find yourself off the trail, uh, do not try to cut across the bush. So this forest is full of dense bushes, uh, and because of the monsoons, the growth is pretty heavy and pretty dense. We just went yesterday, and while we have done a bit of pruning on some of the sections, but still most of the trail there is significant growth, right? So much that some parts of it you might not be able to see very clearly also, but yeah, if you look through the bushes, you will see that there is a trail. So it is extremely likely that you will find yourself off trail and you will find yourself in some bush or the other, right? Number one thing to keep in mind is do not go through the bush, because you never know till what extent you can see the bush and you don't know what lies beyond that, right? It is very likely that you will enter the bush and the bush will get even denser, even deeper. And there, if you turn around, the entire sense of orientation, your entire visual perception, everything will go for a toss, and then you will enter into panic mode. So you do not want to do that. You don't take shortcuts. The best way to handle this situation is that you take note, take sense, take the best way to handle such situations is that you take note of where you are, how much you have deviated, and that all that you should be able to see on the map. So if you have not deviated a lot from the route, you'll be able to see that. If you have deviated a lot from the route, that also you will be able to see. But immediately just stop, just look around for what the trails are, what the open routes are, and try to find yourself back. Try to move backwards. I mean, not move backwards, but turn around and try to find your way back onto the main trail, so that the point where you got off or you deviated, you reach that point, and then again you take stock of the situation and then try to see where the route is actually going, right? Then there will be places on the route where you will encounter such a situation. In most cases, you can either go around a bush, you can follow the open trails and go around bushes, or you find your way back to the main trail where you left off, and then try to move forward. In any case, do not go into the bush, because once you go into the bush, you will find it challenging because the bushes get dense. Once the bushes get dense, you don't know what's lurking behind those bushes. You don't know what wildlife there is. Uh, Once you go into that bush, there will be more challenges. The bush will get denser. The bush will kind of absorb you inside. I mean, not physically, but in a manner of speaking. And once you go into the darker parts of a bush, there is obviously the chance of wildlife lurking there, reptiles being there, and so on. So you don't want to do that. So most of the trail is open. There are some canopy areas where you will be going through, but those are all, if you look down on the surface, you will see a clear trail going. So which means there is a route. Right. So there is no section where there is cover up front, up top, on the left, right. It's not covered. It's all open. So you stay in the open, you stay on the trail, you stay on the GPX file. Right. So that's what you need to do. The other thing to keep in mind is if you're alone, use a whistle, or you keep clapping loudly, or you just sing a song or whatever. Just make some noise so that the animals who are hiding behind the bush, it could be any animal for that matter, whatever wildlife is hiding behind the bush, it is alerted of your presence and it does not come in your way, right? Mm, these animals, the wildlife is happy to stay away from humans, so use that to your advantage and announce that you are coming, right? So you can use a whistle. That's the best way, because whistle sound can also alert fellow participants who are at a distance, or the volunteers who are in the area, right? That you're calling for attention. So that's always a good thing. Or you can, if you're moving with someone, uh, keep talking to them. talk loudly, make jokes, laugh, have fun, and or if you, even if you're alone, if you, I mean, we have made carrying a whistle mandatory, but if for whatever reason, if you feel more comfortable, uh, singing loud out loud, do that by all means. But do not stay quiet if you found yourself alone. This is also mating season for many of the animals there, so chances are that you may not be able to see those animals, but they are able to see you, right? So you want them to be alerted that you know you're walking through or running through, and they do not need to come in your way. Also, the last point, just keep an eye, just be attentive to what's happening on the ground, right? There are sections that are covered by bushes, so it will be difficult to see what's actually happening on the ground. Uh, Typically, again, wildlife gets alerted in more ways than you can imagine. They can sense if there is any, they can sense using the on ground vibrations. They can sense if people are coming or if there is any movement happening. So they will do their best to stay out of your way. But at the same time, you need to be extremely alert and extremely aware of what's happening. Any sort of movement you see or feel or you sense, immediately start exercising caution. Take out your whistle, start shouting, start screaming. I mean, don't call for, I mean, don't start screaming in panic, because then that comes with its own sets of problems. But just, you know, alert whatever can be around you, right? Even if it's humans, it's fine, just alert them, right? There are people who go on their walks in on these trails, so you will, on the main trails at least, you will find people, you will encounter people walking by, which is always good. There will be cattle. If there is cattle, then that's a sign that you don't have any predators hanging around, so that's also good. If you see a lot of cattle droppings, again, that's a good thing. But just keep your eye open, just keep your eyes and ears, everything open for what is happening in front of you, and have a sense of what is happening around you also, right? This is not to scare you, this is just to make sure that you are aware and you are uh, sensitive to what is happening, and are receptive to what the nature is giving back to you, right? All right, so these are some of the points, these are some of the quick tips on how to navigate, how to use GPX files. uh, it's very simple. And just remember one thing, that there is you will need to use your you will need to be aware, alert, and use your presence of mind. Uh, Use the GPX files and your phone as a navigational aid, and not as the primary means of movement, right? When you're looking at the trail, what needs to be done, what decisions you need to take, what is a function of your skill rather than the app telling you anything, because the app is not going to tell you anything. The app is only going to tell you whether you are on the route or you're off the route, right? What you do with that information is entirely your decision, and entirely that's the function, and that's what this kind of a challenge, or this format of a race, is all about. You need to solve these navigational challenges and make your way to the finish line. Simple. You will find our volunteers at 3 points on the route, and we will be sharing everyone's details, everyone's numbers. There is phone network for the most part in Asola. So if you find yourself out of network, just move like 20-30 steps in either direction and you will be in network. So uh, there are no black holes inside a solar. So you will be able to communicate with our volunteers uh, who will be there, and they will be able to guide you, at least guide you to a point where you're on a safer trail, right? From where uh, from where evacuation will be possible. Right? Some of these checkpoints are also reachable by car. They're accessible by a car or a bike. So depending on where you are lost, how far you are from there, we will figure out if an evacuation scenario is required, or we can just guide you back on the main trail and you can find your way back. So we'll cover all these points in the race briefing, but yeah, we have all these things covered operationally, so you don't need to worry. All you need to worry about is that your GPX files are loaded. Please do not come to the start line without doing this homework. because at the start line, with the start line activities, we will not be in a position to help you. You will either have to take help from your fellow participants, uh, or you will have to lose, or you will end up losing time in getting all these files loaded and getting ready. If you don't have the GPX file, we will be doing a gear check. If you don't have the GPX file loaded at the time of race flag off, we will not let you continue. We will not let you start the race. What we will do in that case is the race will flag off. People with the GPX files will be allowed to go. You will be allowed to stay back. We will help you download the file in that at that time. You might end up losing 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever number of amount of minutes at that time, and then we will let you go. You are not crossing the start line without the GPX file, right? So that's without the GPX file and the mandatory gears, which includes the whistle as well this time, right? So this is yeah. So yeah, that's what there is. That's what there is to navigation. Thank you for watching, and we will see you at the race briefing and then at the start line. Cheers.